Yo, what is up, folks? MTG here with a Rakdos Transmogrify, which is kind of leveled up a bit with Duskmourn, as he's got a brand new target. This deck's been around for a little while. It traditionally plays a Traxxas, but Duskmourn has brought us Valgavoth, Terror Eater, 6 black, 9/9, flying, lifelink, and then a ward sacrifice 3 non-land permanents. Just like incredible protection. And if a card you didn't control would be put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, exile instead. During your turn, you may play cards exile with Valgavoth. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its mana value rather than paying its mana cost. And for paying that life, you obviously is a 9/9 with lifelink as well, so help yourself out a lot. Out a demon, and then obviously cheating this into play with Transmogrify, kind of the namesake card of the deck. Green and red, exile target creature. That creature's controller reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a creature card, and then put it into the battlefield. And so, Valgavoth, 2 copies as our only creature, bunch of different ways to make tokens. That's the idea. Valgavoth and Atraxa, are a little bit different. Atraxa doesn't protect itself. Valgavoth does with the ward ability, and that sacrifice 3 non-permanents is hey, that's a real cost. Especially the deck plays out kind of like a mid-range deck with a lot of removal to kind of get through the early game anyway. And so oftentimes your opponent's just not going to have the permanents to sacrifice, which is quite good. The downside is that Atraxa immediately effectively draws you a bunch of cards, finds you a bunch of tools. Valgavoth doesn't do that straight away. The deck's pretty resilient anyway. But if your opponent versus blue-white control, for example, something like that, where it's lots of wrath effects, ways to kind of answer Valgavoth without having to pay the cost, then it's a bit worse. But those matchups kind of you struggle anyway, and hopefully you've got some stuff in the sideboard for that. But yeah, let's just run through the rest of the list. We've got some early removal. We've got 3 copies of Fatal Push with 3 copies of Torch the Tower. The exile removal actually really nice at the minute versus the current red decks that have got die abilities. 4 copies of Thoughtseize, along with a Duress to kind of strip our opponent's kind of interaction for our combo. A Cling to Dust to some nice early interaction for graveyard strategies, things like Greasebank, which is kind of making a bit of a rise. Some other decks playing Alternac type stuff. I did record a video with Dredge with Alternac quite recently. Check that out if you're interested. But all pretty nice to have, and hey, it just cantrips itself away. Our actual token producers, we've got 4 copies of Case of the Stashed Skeleton, which makes skeletons, and then also has a tutor effect to stay put onto it. So makes a 2/1, but then if your opponent is oh, I need to kill that because they want to kill it, so you can't Transmogrify into it, then you get the solved ability. For 1 and a black, you can sacrifice it, search over for a card, put it into your hand, and that can be a token maker, that can be the Transmogrify. It's super handy. We've then got 3 Reckoner Backbusters. You can play it down early, draw cards off it, eventually makes a token. 4 copies of Fable and Mirror Breaker, these make tokens. The Urbask Forge makes a token, and also just sets up as a nice threat for the rest of the game as well. Nixus makes tokens as well, and it's actually with the token synergizes super well with the other tokens because you can sacrifice those tokens to casualty it to get extra copies, and then it's a super annoying planeswalker. Pretty cool. There's a couple more pieces to remove up here. Bit of Triumph, Volcanic Spite. Volcanic Spite nicely puts the Valgavoth back into your library if you've drawn it. That's quite handy. And then 1 extinction event is 1 main deck and a wrath effect. And lastly, a Rakdos joins up. So that bit of Triumph and play it to you for opponent answers the Valgavoth. You have Rakdos joins up, 3 black-red, legendary enchantment. When it enters this battlefield, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with 2 +1 counters, comes in as an 11/11. And whenever a legendary creature you control dies, it deals damage equals that creature's power to target opponent, which is pretty lethal if you got to attack once. So pretty good. Along with these, there are some other kind of token producers in the mana base. You've got Fountain Port down here, which can make fish. Mutavault, you can animate and then Transmogrify that. Mirex, well, you can kind of make some tokens to do it that way, and then we've got our kind of standard affair of black-red lands. Skenzan in here also makes tokens. I'll have a list in the description as well. Don't necessarily feel to copy the lands off the screenshot. I'll include the sideboard here, but I'm going to be playing best of 1 today, I believe. 2 more copies of Duress for those control matchups, 1 extra Fatal Push for the early aggro, Deep Damping Sphere. Moist Sphere isn't necessarily a huge thing on Arena, but it's actually quite good versus the Izzet decks as well. Go blank, 1, 2, 3 copies. Sorry, they're kind of split here, along with an unlicensed. So go blank come in versus some of the constructs as well. Kind of strip that hand away, but the graveyard exiling is actually super important as some of the decks in the format. An extra extinction event, an extra sideboard wrath, an extra Urbask Forge again for those control matchups. We're just hey, I'm going to make a token every turn. It's going to make it bigger, and then hey, it's also a target for Transmogrify. Super nice. And then 2 copies of Hidetsugu Consumes All. And then the second Omnixilus and a Meteor Masker. So an extra wrath on top of the extinction event kind of come alongside. I like Meteor Masker a lot. I think it's kind of underplayed in general. Can see me playing more decks, but it's a really nice one here. And yeah, the Omnixilus comes in as additional. The Urbask Forge coming as control decks where the Valgavoth might not end the game by itself. But yeah, I'm gonna hop into some best of one ranked matches. If you're not already, please do subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. And yeah, let's get into some games. All right, first match here with the Transmogrify deck. Some Valgavoth. Triple case Transmogrify on the play. We'll keep this, I guess. So one interesting thing is like Transmogrify versus something like creativity. Creativity can target artifacts. Obviously, you can't play any artifacts in the deck. This deck plays artifacts in the deck. Like you got Reckoner Bankbuster is one of the kind of like key kind of card advantage engines that's important. But the downside of that is that the Transmogrify is easy to interact with. It's been targeting a creature. Generally, those are like 2/1s, 2/2s, like 1/1 tokens, which is a bit of a problem. They just apply a Esper Greasefang. The good old please do not die on turn 3. Menace, we decide damage to the Fiend's Informant. There's no real incentive for us to attack. Just making more tokens. In the red zone. Nope. Have to block with both. To say. Fortunately, these are suspected, so they've got Menace. And they can't block, so we might as well get in there. Though we traded their Fiend's Informant, that's actually fine. We've got more Menace attackers. And yeah, if they double block, we can just assign to that. Lauren. I said I seen Greasefang. That is a Greasefang over there. Let's add both of these. We'll get a damage in before we take away. They can trade with Lauren here actually. Sorry, as in they can put the Lauren and the supplier in front. They can't do that. You support both. That's also not how it works. These are metas. There we go. Yeah, unfortunately we have to do a damage to Stitch Supplier. But that's kind of part of the plan. They hadn't hit a vehicle yet. 3 cards here. They hit this, however, we are Transmogrify. Did I just turn it first? Maybe. I said maybe. Yeah. Look, this means we can out-tutor, which is nice. We could have made the attack afterwards. The cards that when they go into the graveyard get exiled. That's the text on Valgavoth. As is if they have a Greasefang. They can bring back a Hellion. It doesn't do a ton, but we could have just not had that. Just dealt without that. Cruise. I got rid of the Greasefangs, assuming no ways to bring the Greasefang back. Quite cool though. I'm not used to seeing Lauren in these decks. Alright. We have our Greasefang now. No Bankbuster in the yard. We can work on that. Yeah. Oh, they're playing Overlords. Interesting. On attack. And then I can do putting another creature into play, to be honest. Pretty safe. Yeah, absolutely should have just made the Valgavoth and then like attacked with one of the 2/1s or something. Overlord. I think it's about creature cards as well, right? Yeah, no avatar creature or a planeswalker. One of those in the deck. We can make this, set this up for next turn. We can make this in a Grease Fang. These cost life as well, I guess. So we're at 29. Kind of may as well put the 5/5 into play. This is bigger than any angel tokens as well, notably. Didn't mill Valgavoth, that's good. So we could make a second one of these, but there's no real point in that. I cast this. Kind of looking for a removal spell. These can all go in the graveyard. Okay. With the idea being to make a Bankbuster and draw into it, but we'll still do this bit. This also attacks 3 angels. Kind of might as well. And then I will also play that. Alright, go ahead. We're not going to pay 8 life for each other. Putting us down to like under 30 would be bad. RNG die. Otherwise the gaze still lets them control their draw step, just they need to we get the lands they binned. And yeah, you can only cast Valgavoth spells on the Stitch Supplier does yeah. And it's about hobbit shit. These are not this, but the Overlord's been seeing play in like quite a bit. Like in sacrifice things. So this happens first. Then these all get to all the triggers go on the stack before Valgavoth. Actually they don't, because they'll get exiled, never mind. But the cards do still get exiled. Don't get the death. Point. Fire this up. Go into the red zone. Brilliant. I get to return a Valgavoth to our hand. Good times. Good going. But yeah, the Overlord's seen play in a few different decks, so I'm like, try some of that. Specifically, it's like brought a massive comeback to Enigmatic Incarnation. That's been very cool. Like, potentially on the channel soon. But they are also on Mythic. Maybe give it a week. Let's see what's alright, second match here. Go ahead and keep this. It'd be really cool to have like a 2-mana token effect to like just like go into Omnixus with. In particular, like Case into Omnixus is a really nice start. Blue black. I'm gonna go ahead and open with Duress. Well, like, so if I had the Transmogrify in hand, I'd probably save it till later. Don't want to do this. Don't want to have. Oh, the Oculus aspect. Okay. Wait. Oculus aspect Grease Fang. And a couple of new builds actually, kind of interesting. We'll go ahead and run this. Opening the Cling to Dust here is also pretty nice. There's also a non-zero chance that I regret not taking that temporary lockdown later. The Cling gives them like a direct way to discard if you play a creature, whereas this is just like, hey, circumstantial. Yeah, let's make available. We have one unknown card. The Oculus is a 3-mana 5/5 with flying, which is pretty good. Additional cost to cast it, exile 6 cards from your graveyard, which is like pretty hefty. But then at the beginning of each evidence, Manifest Dread, so top 2 cards in the library, 1 to graveyard, 1 to play. I'm going to discard the Extinction Event. I'm gonna discard Sulphurous Spring. And then they get to basically manifest one of those as a 2/2. Like manifest from, I was gonna say Khan's Attack, but that's not quite right. Don't wanna, you can't cast it from your graveyard though. I'm gonna take that. Have a second lock. Speaking of annoying. If we play this one, we kind of force the first lockdown out, and we can always flip our Fable token into the Omnix. Oh, I guess the problem with the Omnixus actually is that this lets them discard cards. Like, hey, do you want to discard cards? I guess we do have the Cling to Dust as bait. Maybe that's good enough. We need to get rid of the Omnix. I'm kind of fine with it being bait. Giving it to them for free seems kind of awkward. I'm gonna discard the Omnix. It looks like too obvious bait, I think. Remember the they have a bunch of mana itself is a bit. But we're gonna start doing like Fable thing, and so they're gonna need some stuff. Lockdown only catches the token. These get to. Fine. Not that we can do anything. I'm gonna sack this for black so that we have Fatal Push turned on, I guess. I think this is just leave the battlefield. Yeah. Not like sure. New Thoughtsy. I want to cast this, but I'm worried that they just won't. 18. So if they do have something, we can take the Parhelion. Oh, I guess we'll take the bonus copy of this. I'm gonna say go here, and end step. Their end step. I'm gonna reflections a little bit. All right, they're gonna keep it up. They're gonna keep Parhelion second hand. We'll take that. Just non-combo one. Just completely honest. Okay, match 3. Ooh, we drew the Forge. Big fan of the Forge. Though it's probably better in best of 3 than best of 1 Ladage because the number of aggro decks in best of 1. So we've also played back-to-back Esper Greasefang. So 2 very different builds to be fair. Like the Oculus stuff, I'll definitely be doing some Oculus stuff on the channel. Deck is very, very cool. And I like Judge a lot, and maybe system stuff. But yeah, we'll keep this on the draw. We have like almost stuff. Okay, Hall of Storm Giants like reads blue white control, which means we actually want to save this Thoughtseize. I'm gonna lead with the Haunted Ridge and play on curve. We might take some damage for the ability to do that, and we will run our case out into the No More Lies, or whatever else. Vito. All right. You value Forge more or Fable? Forge is like a really annoying one to answer. It doesn't get got by March. It's pretty interesting. However, Fable fixes our draws in a big way. They also didn't have a bit of Triumph is bad, right? I don't think the spell's going to resolve, so I'm going to cast the Forge. And we need to loot towards more lands to try and get our stuff done while they're kind of struggling. Oh, this resolved. Alright, well that also gives us a thing to Transmogrify onto, which is cool. They can get lost this. That's annoying. Would be less annoying for playing creativity, but hey. Oh, you can march it. Yes, I don't know why I thought it was like creature enchantment. Yeah, that's gonna cost them some value with the Wandering Emperor. Drawing a Valgavoth is not necessarily the best either. They didn't have a counter spell launch, so hopefully they don't for a Fable. They do not. Nice. We'll see how this one plays out. Get lost on the Fable. No double white right now. Oh. Let's attack, shall we? I so want to run the Transmogrify app, but I just don't think we quite get there. And we can set it up for next turn, right? I wanted to see if they had anything for the creature so I can attack. Given they don't, now it's safer to explore onto. We do not want to now. I'll run this back one more time. If we can find a land. We do. Nice. That now lets us have the, hey, I'm gonna thought season plan. Thought season to Transmogrify plan. But just bear in mind again, versus blue white, it's not as good as it would be in some other matchups. Okay, I'm gonna attack here. Opens the door to like Wandering Emperor in case they had another one. Also gets the treasure token. Go ahead and thought these. They're working with. Now they're gonna Wandering Emperor. Okay.
I'm not overconfident. You're just underwhelming.
Take it. Oh, they're on field. In fact, the irrigated farmlands should say they're on field, but they're also not playing Euro, which is a bit of a weird one. We can Transmogrify the Mutavault. I guess we actually don't need to sacrifice the torch, because if they don't respond to this, they can't then exile and respond. The other thing is that fortunately this time, if they do draw another Wrath, we have the Rakdos drones up to bring Valgavoth back from the graveyard, which is really nice. So big stonks. Actually, I guess if we do this, we can't do that. I goofed a little bit. Because when I'm using the mana for the Torture Tower, it doesn't quite work out. I thought they would use it straight away. They didn't. We can still run this play next turn, unless they've drawn a counter spell, it'll be good. Okay. Oh, it's very... Into counter spell would be rough.
I'm known for my excellent timing.
In fact, we can... let's resolve. I'm gonna let them untap lands before I bet a Triumph. In case they do have a counter spell. I'll opt to discard card, so I'm gonna discard the Valgavoth here.
That didn't go according to
Okay, that wasn't a counter spell. If it's like another Wandering Emperor, I'll kick myself. Okay. I'm gonna keep this Sword Image in hand. We could draw into like Fable. That's the case of Kelly. Do the clear answer for this? That could be a Wrath effect, or it could be a Wrath effect. Still getting the required number of permanents in play is unlikely. So they could also have like Farewell. That would be pretty rough. Deluge, yeah. Okay. If they had Farewell, that'd be really. If there's a good way to go around that. But I think it's also like maybe falling out of favor a little bit. We have other exile rats in the format as well. It being an answer to kind of everything is still just really. I'd still probably play one. I've not looked at like all the different blue-white decks in a while. Okay, there's continuity. I'm gonna deluge it. You dumb. Oh. I'll read you the text on this. This says, look at the top accident, cards in your library, accident, and mana. Learn to cast a spell. Does not cast anything off of Valgavoth. I am gonna play the Fable out. Guys, maybe this is all. Probably also. This in itself is fine. I should have saved the Fable potentially just to play around. Play around Farewell, because it would catch the Fable as well. Discard. Both of these. Then we can Rakdos ruins up. Yeah, this is pretty sloppy. It would feel worse if I didn't just randomly be like, oh yeah, I can cast this, right? And then like, yeah, no, it's not casting it for 4. Casting it for X is 0. But here we are. Now also if they wrath it, deals a bunch of damage to them. That's cool. It's all fine. Goes back to their graveyard. Oh, well. What's the magic trick? Boom. Alright. Well, you'll see the Rakdos turns up better than the neck as well. That's kind of cool. Here for that. Yeah, don't cast Memory Deluge off of Valgavoth. not my finest moment. And maybe should have held the Fable for the Farewell. Have it. Alright, this might be last match. See how it goes. Gigantha. Yeah, we've not played an aggro deck yet. That was on the play as well, which means the thoughts might be totally off. This deck is not very good at blocking. Most of the creatures are either bad at or can't block, or literally only alive when they're attacking. So, an interesting one. We do, however, have Torch's Tower. And this could be a different. This could be a non-aggro Gigantha deck. That is a Sacred Foundry, though. Given no turn 1 play, I'm gonna go ahead and Thoughtseize here and try and nab a 2-drop creature. Okay, yeah, we're gonna leave them creatureless. That's good to me. They have Loran's Escape, which is actually indestructible. Oh, that's unfortunate. Shard Mage is Rescue. I'm not familiar with. If it enters the battlefield this turn, hexproof, and then it's also got flash, and then creature gets. We have not shown any other colors yet. Yeah, I guess we're gonna force their action. They also only have access to one. They have the Sacred Foundry, so they get access to 2 white mana. This is like not really online at the minute. So I'm just gonna go ahead and drop the case. Like, if they don't want to cast any of their protection spells, the Whisper is not going to kill us very quickly. They can go like 1 Homestead Courage and then hold up 1 of the protection spells next turn, but that's not a very fast clock still. I mentioned the deck's bad at blocking. These skeletons, because they're suspected, they get menace, but they also can't block, which is a little one. Okay. Most of the time you're not too worried about that, but one of the times when you are. And the other important thing, I guess, is that our opponent's not got any creature removal. And alright. It's a suspect. Suspects can't block. This does make it a 2-3. Makes it harder to remove. And once it gets the counter... Ooh, okay, they're going to make the bad choices. Alright. So we absolutely want to torch the fire this guy, just while we can. Again, this can't block. I'm gonna work out if there's anything else we can do. Wait, we're not gonna die, but it's a weird position to be in. I just gonna have to come into the red zone, and then we're on 11. If they draw the right number, like the right card sequence, this is like an extra 2 damage. Just an extra. At the minute, this is 6. 4, 5. They drew like a double strike effect. This is actually super dangerous as well. We're gonna go counter here. We take 8, go to 3. If they draw a removal spell for one of their own creatures, then we're going to be in a bit of hurt. Yeah, this is menace, so I'm not worried about them blocking, and then we're just going to try right away. I do want to Toxic Skeleton. I do want a Valgavoth. Now let's see what happens. So we can tutor for more removal. The concern is that they have actual protection spells as well. You kind of need to attack with it. It's also dangerous when they've got Slick Shocks. They can rack up damage pretty. Gonna be an interesting one. See how it works out. Okay. Fine. Yeah, they're gonna keep it up. All right. Pretty awesome run there with the new Rakdos Transmogrify. Valgavoth is awesome. The ward sacrifice 3 non permanence ability is basically hexproof in a lot of places. Like Atraxa, does still die if you get rare. Atraxa gets you cards, whereas this doesn't get cards until later on. So there is some kind of like movement there. I have seen people still play both, but Valgavoth is definitely seeing a ton of play in these decks. It is really solid. Maybe it's the case where like if versus is like we might control, you want to play some Atraxa in your sideboard, maybe. But it's still pretty good. I quite like the Rakdos Drones up plan here as well. The deck in itself, like the rest of the deck, there's a lot of like flexibility with the shell. We played more into the mid-range game here, like the Decklist, the Brass Forge. You've got more of these cards on the side what we can kind of key into. You can lean more into Reckoner Bankbuster. Kind of playing very much like you can play this mid-range game plan and then hey, wham bam, I've got my combo to get this like big massive haymaker. Deck is really good. And yeah, you can tune it kind of a bit depending on preference. You've got a decent amount of good sideboard cards and red and black as well for different matchups. And so really do like it. Played like a reasonable range of matchups there. We did hit Esper Greasefang twice, but 2 completely different builds to be fair, and those look very sweet. I've seen a couple of different takes on that deck. We'll definitely have a look at it sometime in the future. As the Oculus, and especially the Oculus, I'll probably put at least one dredge video out with. Seems really sweet. Yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do a like, subscribe, share it around. We'll have a list in the description if you want to import the deck and copy it around. But yeah, really excited. The deck has been like popping off a little bit online in Pioneer and Explorer here on MTG Arena. These 2 things will no longer be distinct. I won't have to kind of like put both in the title very soon as we get Pioneer Masters. I'm extremely excited for that as well. Hopefully that'll happen either like late with Foundations come out in November. It'll probably be December like 14th. I'm gonna pick a date here. I'm gonna say an actual date. I think it will be December 12th that Pioneer Masters comes out on Arena. All right, that's my guess. I have no inside information at all. I'll hopefully put together a bigger video on that anyway. But yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you have a great day. Peace out.